Hello and welcome to this information clinic on the Participatory Arts Project Award and the Children and Young People's Arts Project Award. My name is Karen Whelan and I'm the support manager from Arts Participation, and I will co-present with my colleague Emer Hart, who is the officer in Children and Young People Arts. We are also joined by our colleagues Amy Delamere and Finn Reid from both teams. At this clinic, we're just going to bring you through certain points throughout the process, and that will be we just do a brief about the Arts Council funding and advice, applying for funding, two presentations from myself in the Participatory Arts team, and Emer will do one from the Children and Young People's Arts team too. We'll go through how to apply, what supports are available, and other grants and awards that may be of interest. And then we'll do questions and answers at the end. Just say, feel free to add questions into the chat and we'll go through them at the end of both presentations. So just a little bit about the Arts Council. So the Arts Council is the national government agency for funding, developing and promoting the arts in Ireland. The Arts Council works in partnership with artists, arts organisations, public policy makers and others to build central place for the arts in Irish life. The Arts Council strives to respect, support and ensure the inclusion of all voices and cultures from all sections of society, from existing and new communities and from all social backgrounds, ethnicities and traditions that make up Ireland today. We are underpinned by our 10-year strategy, Making Great Art Work, for which we were in our final year. You can find the strategy document on our website, and you can find out more information about the work of the Arts Council on our website and in our social media platforms and in our newsletters. The Arts Council offers a number of funding opportunities. You can access information on all the funding opportunities that are offered throughout 2025 and some relevant to 2026 via the website. While every effort is made to ensure that these dates are accurate, please note that dates of schemes could change over the course of the year. Any changes will be updated on the website and communicated through our newsletter and social media channels too. All guidelines for each award are accessible on the website, and you can find these on the funding opportunities page. They are typically made available 2 weeks before the window of application opens. We recommend that you read the award guidelines before you start writing your application. If you have any questions relating to your specific area, do not hesitate to contact a member of the relevant team. The guidelines is quite a long document that has approximately 27 pages. However, it is broken down into a number of sections. So it'll cover about the award, who can apply, who cannot apply, what you may or may not apply for, what supporting documents you need, the assessment process, how to apply, technical requirements, and links for further information and support. The application form is only downloadable from the online services account. Once downloaded, save the form in a file on your computer where you can easily find it. When completing your form, be sure to type into the grey box and click Save regularly. When completed, it'll be ready to upload along with your supporting documentations. And just to reiterate, to type into the grey box, because if you don't, it corrupts the application and some background work will need to be done when it's submitted to the Arts Council. There are a number of supporting mandatory documents that will be required, and these will be outlined in each team's or arts practice guidelines document. Name your documents so they are easily identifiable. There is a guide to naming conventions in the guidelines. Put like for like documents into one document. For example, all CVs together or all supporting material together. However, keep the personal disability access costs documents separate if if you are applying for access costs. So now I'll bring you through the participatory arts guidelines. And just to note that the the name change for the arts participation team will change over to participatory arts, hence the difference in the name here today. And this will be all across the website over the coming weeks. So the term participatory arts refers to a broad range of collaborative community and social arts practice that involve artists working with individuals and groups, communities of place or interest in the development, creation and/or presentation of artistic work. Community participants and cross-sector partners are not arts professionals. However, they are artistic collaborators and co-creators, contributing to and influencing artistic content, outcomes and outputs. There will be a shared interest to both the artist and the community, and this may include areas of focus such as equality, social justice, human rights, community development, climate action, health, educational, social, political and environmental issues. It's actually quite broad. So what is the purpose of the project award? The purpose of the Participatory Arts Project Award is to support proposals from professional artists or arts organisations working across all art forms to collaborate artistically with non-arts professionals. It is for projects commencing on or after the 1st of January 2026. A project will have a start and middle and end date and will normally cover a term of 12 months. The award will not support ongoing core costs or for a programme of work. If two or more artists that want to submit an application, a joint application, if they're working on a project together, then one person is nominated from the group to be the applicant, and all documentation will need to be in the name of that individual. For example, contact details, bank details, should they be funded, tax clearance cert. Objectives and priorities of the award. So what we look for in a proposal is an excellent quality of artistic collaboration between professional artists and individuals, groups or communities that are not arts professionals. Proposals that clearly outline artistic goals, ambitions and merit alongside any other goals such as social inclusion, community development, human rights. Include activity that is developed in partnership and outlines how the project will value the different ideas, experience and skills of all involved. Includes individuals and groups that experience barriers to access and engagement with the arts. For example, people who are protected under the Equal Status Acts 2000 to 2018. And these are outlined in the Arts Council Equality and Diversity and Inclusion Policy. And proposals that demonstrate an awareness of current participatory arts practice in Ireland relevant to the proposal and has the potential to have a wider impact. So what is it that we need to know? We need to know who you are collaborating with, as in the community, and why you wish to work with them. How will collaborators contribute to the influence of the project in areas such as planning, artistic content, outcomes, evaluation? If other professional artists and partners are involved, who are they and why their experience is relevant to the project? We also want to know the artistic goals, outcomes and outputs of the project, how you will achieve your goals, and if necessary and relevant, what supports will be provided to individuals or groups you may be working with. So who may apply? So professional artists and arts organisations with a track record in participatory arts. And to be eligible to apply, you must be a resident in the Republic of Ireland. There may be exceptions to this rule, and and those based outside the Republic of Ireland would need to demonstrate in their application the benefit to the arts in Ireland for them to be eligible to go through the process. Who may not apply? So applicants who will not collaborate with non-arts professionals, if the focus is on young people and children only, there needs to be a 50-50 balance with young people and older people for it to be eligible in arts, in participatory arts. Those that have no track record as a professional artist, arts organisation, no track record in participatory arts, organisations funded via the Arts Council programmes, however they may support applicants, undergraduates, cultural institutions, individuals requesting study fees, where the primary activity is therapy or where there is a clinical outcome. So these are just some of them, and we would urge you to read through the guidelines for any more information. What you may apply for. So it's a once-off activity that will take place within a specific period of time, normally 12 months, and where there is an artistic outcome. You can apply for an amount up to 60,000 euros, and you can apply for personal disability access costs in addition to the costs of the project, should they be required. What you may not apply for. If your proposal does not fit the criteria of the award, if they are for charity fundraising purposes, profit-making competition, if the proposal was already assessed, capital costs, ongoing costs or core costs, if you submit for more than one project, if your proposal is suited to another award, or has already started or will start before the 1st of January 2026. What you will need to make an application. You'll need an online services account, and you can register on the Arts Council website if you don't have one already. You'll need a completed application form. You will need a separate budget template, a separate budget document, and we have a template available if applicants wish to use that, and that is available on the funding page next to the guidelines. You'll need CVs from you, the applicant, whether you're the professional artist or arts organisation, CVs of other artists, samples of work, any commitment support letters where relevant, and evidence or proof of contributions, financial in-kind support where these have been confirmed. There may be other documentation that will be required, and that will be probably post decision should you be awarded, and so that could be a self-audit if there's children involved, or we may seek a document where you have acknowledged that you are abide by the HSC vulnerable adults guidelines. So if you need support with your application during the process, you can contact the Participatory Arts team. We currently have 2 emails, and this will eventually just come into one. So you can email participatoryarts@artscouncil.ie or the current arts participation at artscouncil.ie, and the telephone number is 0161 80219. If you need access supports, you can contact our access officer, and her email address is disabilityaccess@artscouncil.ie, and you can call them on 6180 or 6180 If it is a case that you do need disability access support in submitting your application or in preparation, please contact the access officer as soon as you can. If you're looking for other information or supports in the area of participatory arts, socially engaged arts practice, collaborative arts, Create Ireland is the National Development Agency. They are a resource organisation and they provide advisory support to artists in this field and also manage the Artists in the Community scheme on behalf of the Arts Council. There's also a social practice toolkit that may be of interest to applicants, and it's designed to support artists who are interested in the field of participatory, collaborative, social engaged arts by providing practical information, resources, and templates also. So that's it from me. I'm going to ask Emer now to come on, and Emer will go through the guidance for the Children and Young People Arts
Thanks a million,
Project Award.
Karen. Thank you for that. If you give me permission to share, I will pull up my presentation, but I'll just maybe take a moment to thank you, Karen. And just to say to everyone out there, if you want to put any questions into the chat box, you can do that. Or there's a Q&A there as well, where we'll be, Finn and Amy and myself and Karen will be keeping an eye on that inbox as well. But do share your questions with us or save them till the very end. Thank you.
Thanks, Emer. You should be able to.
I'm hoping that it has appeared on the screen. Bear with me a second. I feel like I haven't done Zoom in a little while. I will do slideshow and I'll play from the beginning. So hopefully you can all see my screen there. And I will just take you through. I will probably be repeating a little bit of what Karen has said as well. There is some crossover, some little differences as well. But I think a lot of what we will repeat are very important points. So the closing date for the award, again, the same as Participatory Arts, is Thursday, the 24th of July at 5:30. The system will close down. This is aimed for activities that commence on or after the 1st of January 2026. So please don't, when you're putting together your proposal, in your activities, have major costs kind of lined up prior to this date, or they will be discounted. Just to echo again, we're the national government agency for developing the arts in Ireland, working in partnership with organisations, public policy makers, and others to build a central place for the arts in Irish life. You'll see here we have the national, we have planning and providing for children and young people is a key priority within the arts 10-year strategy, and it is one of a number of cross-cutting areas that intersects in particular with our equality, diversity and inclusion policy. Also our commitment to plan for arts across every part of Ireland and our policy to promote fair pay for artists. So you can see that across our screen here, and our policy for paying the artist. So at the end of December 2023, we very proudly launched our policy for children and young people's arts. And with the launch of this policy brought about the change in our team name. So we were known as YPCE, or Young People, Children and Education. And now we are now the Children and Young People's Arts team. So we were very grateful to the children and young people who shared their insights as we developed our policy and plan for children and young people's arts. And that document is available on our website, along with our Ag Fás leis na Halíne, Growing with the Arts, is available on our website, which was published, as I say, at the end of December 2023. And just to note the name change there as well. So the Arts Council, Children and Young People's Arts. So children and young people's engagement with the arts from birth, it happens from birth right up to adulthood. So from 0 to about the age of 24. We manage funding for artists and organisations working with and for children and young people. We support children and young people's engagement with the arts across art centres, local authority partnerships, art form organisations, and we work in partnership with other government departments and agencies whose policies and provision impact on children and young people's experience of the arts. There are a number of funding opportunities, just kind of within my own team. I suppose we'll share arts grant funding, strategic funding. We have the project award, which we're here to talk about this morning. We have agility and bursary awards. Within our team, then we have the Young Ensemble Scheme. We have Children and Young People's Arts Residency, and Arts in Early Learning and Childcare Scheme 2025. And details of these are available on artscouncil.ie for more information. So just to draw a thank you to some of the images that we have used within this presentation. And we're always very grateful to receive such images because they help to demonstrate the breadth of the work that we are doing, and I suppose push the case for more increased funding for children and young people. So just to draw attention there to the artist Crooked House Theatre Company, Maeve Stone and Paul Curley, who were all previous recipients of what was the YPCE Project Award. So, the purpose of the Children and Young People's Arts Project Award 2026 aims to support and deliver ambitious and original projects with and for children and young people. And projects may be interdisciplinary or focused on a specific art form. This year, we're delighted to share that you can apply for up to 100,000. So that's an increase from 80,000 upper limit to 100,000. And I'll just speak now briefly through the 4 strands. So we have 4 strands for this award, and we ask that you apply to 1 strand only. Now, if your work or proposal, perhaps you're not entirely sure which it could kind of cross into more than 1 strand, we would ask you to choose the strand that aligns best with your proposal. So just going back there, strand 1 for Early Childhood Project Award is for ambitious and original projects that engage children and young people between the ages of 0, so from birth right up to 6. Then moving on to strand 2, we've the Childhood Project Award for ambitious and original projects that engage children aged 7 to 12 years of age. Strand 3, the Transitions Project Award for projects that enable children and young people at a key transition stage in their lives to engage in the arts. And Strand 4, Connections Project Award. This is for projects that connect young artists and recent graduates aged 18 plus with established arts organisations and arts infrastructure in Ireland. So the key objectives and priorities of the award. So strategic priority across all strands will be given to proposals that enable artists and arts workers from diverse communities to play a central role in the development and delivery of projects. Proposals that enable children and young people from diverse backgrounds to engage in exciting, dynamic and artistic projects. Proposals that enable children and young people to have a voice in the development, delivery and evaluation of projects. Proposals that demonstrate that the individuals and partners involved have the capacity to deliver a high quality artistic project that will be relevant and engaging for the target age group. So who can apply? The award is open to professional artists and arts working organisations to engage children and young people engage with the arts. To be eligible to apply, you must be registered or resident in the Republic of Ireland. There are certain exceptions that can be made, and you must demonstrate the benefit to the Republic of Ireland. If this applies to you, do contact us in advance. We encourage applications from all areas of the community, regardless of your gender, sexual orientation, civil or family status, religion, age, disability, race, or membership of the traveller community or socio-economic background. And you can find more details on our website under this and our EDI policy. Who should not apply? So organisations in receipt of strategic funding, Arts Centre funding and partnership funding. While we do welcome your involvement here, just to note that employees of organisations funded by the Arts Council are eligible to apply. These employees must apply or be part of an application if the activities in the application are not usually undertaken by their employer or are financially beneficial to their employer. So individuals seeking support towards fees for higher education or study are not eligible to apply here. And I've just laid out some further situations that are detailed again in our guidelines as to those who would be precluded from applying. You cannot apply for both the award as an individual and also as part of an organisation. So just to note that applications that do so will not be prioritised and can be deemed as ineligible. So for this award within Children Young People's Arts, you can apply for up to 100,000 and you must submit a detailed budget. And we have provided a template which is available on our website for you to use there if you wish. And maximum amount is the difference between the proposed expenditure and the proposed income that you indicate in the proposal. Access. So there are two types of disability access costs that you may need to consider when you're making your application. And these are personal disability access costs and audience disability access costs. And the Arts Council provides separate funding for personal disability access costs in addition to your core budget. You must fund audience disability access costs within your core budget. So these are to remove barriers for artists or participants with disabilities who are delivering your proposal, and that could be for you. It could be for the main artists, individuals, groups, or organisations involved in your proposal, for key partners or collaborators, production staff, core staff, or key administrative staff. So moving on now to support material that we require as mandatory. An up-to-date CV or biographies for each of the key artists involved in the proposed project. We look for a detailed budget. Again, we have provided a template which you can use or you can use your own, but you must supply this. Letters, emails of support and or copies of memorandums of understanding outlining details of collaborations and confirming any commitments to income, because this will impact on feasibility, which we'll speak about later on when your proposal is being assessed. Samples demonstrating previous work are relevant to the proposed project. We'd say there to give a maximum of about 5, but what we would also say is choose very carefully and curate with the purpose in mind. Feel free to include a context document, maybe speaking to the support material that you have included. This again will just add clarity and strength to your to the feasibility and to the overall case that you're making. And in cases where the project proposal has a public outcome, a marketing or dissemination and engagement plan is required. So this isn't required in all cases, but if it applies to you, you must include it. And a plan that outlines the process through which children and young people have a voice in the development and delivery and evaluation of the project. Again, we have provided a template on our website for Children and Young People's Arts Project Award Youth Voice template that has a series of questions in it. If you're going to use your own template, we would definitely ask you to look to this document first, look to using this document, but you must, if you're applying to children and young people, you must include this as a separate document. Otherwise, you're at risk of being deemed ineligible. So just a little screenshot of our from our website here, where you can access the guidelines, the budget template that we have. We also have the Youth Voice template, and we also have the Disability Access Cost template as well, because we ask that you are required to supply a separate document that details the access costs. So Youth Voice and support materials. So again, strategic priority is given to those that demonstrate that that young people and children have a voice in the development, delivery and evaluation of the project. We've given you the template to use there. We ask you that you through that you demonstrate how young people are given the space, voice to influence the shape of this project, and the Youth Voice template allows you to explain. Also, if you do not have a plan to consult with the young people and children at all stages of your project, so that we can understand your rationale. So if you feel it is not needed in this case, you must explain and give a rationale as to why you believe this is not relevant. This is just a screenshot of I suppose the top of the form, the template that we've provided. It has a series of questions and prompts there that I would urge you all to read if you're applying to the award. So how to complete the budget. So you list all projects related, all fees, wages, technical costs, admin costs there as well. You list all project income that you expect to receive, maybe from other funders, other sources of income, box office receipts, program sales, all of that. And do not forget in-kind support in your both your income and expenditure reflects full and true value of your proposal. So please do use that template to demonstrate. We would particularly highlight, I suppose, the value of in-kind support as well. It adds to the value of your proposal and strengthens and I suppose adds graft to your feasibility. And just again to draw attention to our paying the artist policy as well, available on our website. This is just a little screenshot of what the template looks like. You can download it directly from our website. And I just have a note here that the budget template has two sections to be filled out. You'll see there's the expenditure and below that further down there is the income. And please be aware that the budget template contains formulas, so just be very careful if you're going to add to this. It's set up kind of ready to use. This really helps give details and overall detail on the project, and the budget feeds back in on where you score in feasibility. And so don't underestimate again how this is weighed in and assessed as part of your overall proposal. And again, just to say, please do include any income in kind that you have there. Okay. So we would ask that the Arts Council requires all individuals and organisations providing services to children and young people under the age of 18 to have suitable child protection policies and procedures in place. So if you'll tick yes to this in the application form. And if you are successful in getting funding, you will be brought through a self-audit process, and you will work with our colleague there in child safeguarding. And the email there, if you have any questions, I suppose, further on this, is safeguarding@artscouncil.ie. So again, just showing some of the images I referred to earlier on. And we're now going to move on to the assessment process. So if you bear with me one moment here, we have the artistic quality here. So the quality of the idea of the proposed arts activity, track record of the proposed artistic personnel, evidence in supporting materials, innovation, experimentation and collaboration. So the assessor, panelists later on, which we'll speak about, will be looking at the artistic quality of your proposal. We are also looking at meeting the objectives and priorities of the award. So for this, refer back to the guidelines. And then under feasibility, so the track record of personnel involved in managing, administrating and delivering the project. And we're looking at the extent to which the applicant demonstrates the provision of equitable conditions and remuneration for participating artists, the extent of involvement or commitment of identified project partners. We're looking here at the budget. So again, going back to that budget template as well, don't underestimate how this will be looked at as well. And the availability of or access to other resources which can further strengthen feasibility. We also look at the proposed timetable and schedule, and we look at how feasible it is, how realistic it is, and we look at supports that you have, the ambition of what you want to do, and again, just bearing in mind the budget there as well. Making your application. So I suppose we're moving on to a part of the presentation that is relevant to everybody. So when you've made your application, you receive two emails. So I'll just, again, later on, I would say that everybody here needs to be registered on our online services. For this award, you can apply as an individual or you can apply as an organisation. So you need to make that decision yourself. Contact the teams if you need to discuss that any further. But once you've received your ARN, your artistic reference number from OLS, and you have your account and you've made your application, you'll receive two emails, and one is just an initial acknowledgement email that you receive, and the other one, the second email will contain your application number. The Arts Council initially does an eligibility check on all proposals that are received. There's an assessment, a very rigorous assessment process is carried out, and each proposal then is either shortlisted or not shortlisted. If you're shortlisted, you are deemed to go forward to our peer panel process. The peer panel then have a delegated authority to make final recommendations on the award in the context of the available budget. Decisions are communicated to applicants in writing, by email, and decisions then are noted by council. So the time frame, again, activities should not commence before the 1st of January 2026. So I suppose we would aim from the closing date, we would aim to provide a decision to applicants between 12 and 15 weeks, but really that depends on the volume of the applications that we receive. So again, you must register on our online services, and you can do that through our website. You must have an online services account in order to apply, to get your artist reference number and a password, which will be emailed to you. We recommend that you aim to upload your application at least 48 hours before the advertised deadline. That way, if you encounter any problems, it may be easier for us to assist you. But on the day of the closing date itself, if you contact us after, we'll say 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we can't guarantee that we will be able to assist you, just due to the volume of calls that we will receive. So please don't leave it to the last minute. So getting help with your application, you can visit artscouncil.ie. We have an FAQ on our online systems that you can get familiar with. Technical questions should be sent to online services at artscouncil.ie. You can phone the Arts Council on 01 6180 200 or watch our YouTube channel on making an application. Common eligibility mistakes: missing the deadline, leaving it too late, not uploading support material, uploading the wrong support material. So we would say to people, do your files very carefully. In some cases, we do ask that a document is separate and labelled very clearly. That's important to do that. In some cases, for example, like letters of support, I would say a good idea is to save those all together, save as a PDF, just as one document, and upload. And therefore, you've all your letters of support together, all your MOUs, whatever those support documents are. It is a good idea and good practice to save those together so they are all there in one place, and therefore you will avoid the possibility of not uploading something in error or uploading the wrong document. If you don't complete your application form, you will be deemed ineligible. And we would just say to people to read the guidelines. This morning is really just to share with you, to speak about the award, and again, in the context of our guidelines. But we would say you must read the guidelines in full before, making your application. So tips and advice: make sure you select the correct art form to submit your application. Don't assume that those reading your application, that everybody will know your work. In both the context of participatory arts and children and young people's arts, we work across various of art forms. So not everyone will be as familiar with your work, but they are your peers. So just to introduce yourself, like, for the first time, that not everyone is familiar with your work. Don't make any assumptions, I suppose. Make the supporting material easy to access. So again, naming the document, or in some cases where it's appropriate, consider putting all your letters of support together in one file, with the little running order of what you've included. Make sure all mandatory supporting documents have been submitted and very clearly labelled. Don't leave it until the last minute to submit your application, and call us for supporting questions as soon as you have any questions. So, Gurv Míle Maithgoibh Galéir, Tá mé Creek na Hanish. I'm finished, so I'm going to stop